Hello again and welcome back. In our last episode on Roadtrip Stories Tadoba, we took you straight from Mumbai to Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve with a stopover in Shirdi. We had a great time out there on the safari and were amazed by the beauty of Tadoba National Park. Stay tuned to see our journey back home to Mumbai, during which we explored the wonderful Ellora Caves and hiked the historical marvel Daulatabad Fort. 6 o'clock in the morning, and we had already checked out of Orchard Jungle Camp. A trip is perfect when our stay, activities and food, every aspect of it has given joy. This was one of those trips.
Nice sightings.
The Tadoba Andhari forest and our camp, both were perfect, making safari experiences most memorable. We had a great time here at Tadoba. Like always, with heavy hearts, we start our return journey. A small, unsatisfied part of my mind was hoping that we get a last glimpse of wildlife before we get back to the city. Maybe a leopard on the road, or maybe a barn owl sitting on a branch. Well, that's just me who hates to say his goodbyes. But I promise to come back again. The long drive back home was quiet. All absorbed in their own thoughts about this trip in the forest. Each one of us had a different perspective on the same event and sightings. That, I think, is the best part about traveling with a partner, family or friends. Soon we were on the Maharashtra Samruddhi Mahamarg Expressway. We had to cover a long distance. The staff at Orchard Jungle Camp had packed breakfast for us, which we ate on the way. After driving straight for 7 hours, we had reached Ellora and checked in at the Ellora Heritage Resort. This was a beautiful resort within the main city. We had lunch and took some rest. After freshening up, we headed to the famous Allora Caves. This marvelous wonder doesn't need any introduction. The Allora Caves, locally known as Verul Leni, was a total of 34 caves known for its beautiful temples and monasteries, extended to a span of 2 kilometers. It showcases the architecture carried out in 3 phases between the 6th and the 12th century by followers of 3 prominent religions, Buddhism, Brahmanism and Jainism, showing their spiritual coexistence. It was my first trip to Allora Caves and had always visioned it through photographs. But physically being here showed me how vast this place really is. To be honest, I was overwhelmed with so much of art, passion and brilliance to experience and register. Every sculpture embodied a beautiful episode of our vast mythology. Every direction our eyes could see was pure beauty. Can't really pick a favorite, but there was this section of the Kailash temple which caught my attention. It's the Ravana Nugraha Murti, which was the depiction of Ravan shaking Mount Kailash. I love the way the artisans have shown a troubled Parvati coming close to Lord Shiva during this event and scared devotees running away.
अगर लेडीज कितनी भी सुंदर है, गुस्सा आएगा फेस खराब दिखता है. गुस्से में लेडीज कैसी दिखती है, बदतर में दिखा है. ये जो पिलर आप देख रहे हैं, पिलर से 30 फीट आया है, 30 फीट बाहर 135 फीट लंबा है. इसका थिकनेस 91 फीट है. तो इतना बड़ा कैंटिलीवर दुनिया में कहीं नहीं है. अमेजिंग है. अपना चेंज का स्लैब होता है 10 फीट के ऊपर कॉर्न होता है. सारे सिविल इंजीनियर का माइंड इधर बंद गिर जाता है. ऐसा कैंटिलीवर दुनिया में कहीं नहीं है. ये 8 रेल में रामायण है।
Wedged on this wall depicts the tale of Ramayana.
इस कारण में देखना 4 लोग हैं।
It was the first time that we were audience to a crash course of Ramayana, thanks to our guide. Notice all that detail. I was speechless.
लास्ट में कौन ने नाव में जाके नदी पार कर दिया, जंगल में छोड़ 2 नंबर है सेंटर में शुरू में नका ये शुरू में दिख रहा है। इसके नीचे हनुमान जी के युद्ध है, एक और लड़के शुरू मर गए, फिर नीचे से 3 नंबर 12 सेंटर अशोक वाटिका, सीता को वाटिका में रखा है। हनुमान जी का सीता
So all the lions are looking this Chinese style of lions, like curly mane.
Even here on the side.
Yeah, so it's like how we saw in Forbidden City.
Yeah, exactly. We moved to the upper section of this temple, where some of the art was restored in the 1890s.
1819 इंदौर की महारानी सैन्य के ऊपर
Very good.
इसके ऊपर जो डिजाइन है उन्हीं की मानवी पक्षियों की ये समुद्र मंथन है, ये मेरू पर्वत की नहीं बनाया, ये नीलकंठ से अमृत निकला नासिक इलाहाबाद उज्जैन हरिद्वार, वहाँ हर 12 साल बाद कुंभ मेला पड़ता है। 3D सिवा 3D सर इधर आ जाओ, ये दरवाजे के पास आ जाओ। राज है, इसने तीसरी आँख खोला है, इसको ज्वेलरी ज़्यादा शरीर कम दिखता है, और ये पेंट कितना सुंदर है, कैसा बना है वो।
Next, we headed to the oldest part of the caves, which was the Buddhist set of caves. It was almost closing time, so we prioritized visiting cave number 10, Vishmakarma, which is most important amongst the other 12 Buddhist caves. We stepped down a few stairs, leading to the main entrance of the cave. Once inside, we could not miss the huge arcs on the roof similar to a whale's ribcage, extending all the way to the back. At the center laid the main 11 feet colossal Buddha, seated with his feet down, while on the ark over his head is carved the Bodhi tree with dwarfs on either side. It was close to sunset and time to exit. But before we left this place, we followed a route which led us to the top of the Kailash temple. The view from the top was beautiful, especially during sunset. From here, we could observe closely the detailed carvings on the roof of this cave, and sunset made the stones glow, adding to its grandeur. Walking through Ellora Caves compound in summer heat is exhausting, so we decided to take early dinner and head to bed. During summers, it's best to rise early for outdoor activities. The next day, after a cup of tea or two, we got out as we had planned to hike the famous Daulatabad Fort.
Lots of sari stall.
Yeah, because Paithan is a place close by. Paithan is the center of all sari weaving in Maharashtra. The Maharashtrian Paithani sari is world famous.
At 6:30 a.m., we were already buying tickets at the fort gate. We were the only ones there. Please feel free to pause this section to read about the fort. This fort is considered among the best preserved forts in the country, which has survived several years without any alteration. This fort is surrounded by 3 fortations: Ambarkot, where the common people were allowed till this point; Mahakot, which is the courtyard with cannons; and lastly, the innermost fortation, Kalakot, which was the most mysterious.
Jaljeera Fort. And look at this large cannon.
You don't want to be on the other side of this cannon.
You see this? See all these markings inside.
As we walked towards the main entrances, we entered the huge doors of the fort with spikes on them to prevent from elephant attacks.
Yeah. And there are some rocks exactly which have these. That one.
See this?
Carvings in the rock.
And here also. Washroom and drinking water facilities. And here it starts 750 stairs to the top.
At this point, we split into 2 teams. Team A, where my brother-in-law Siddharth and I sprinted ahead to the top of the fort, while Team B, Varnika and her parents followed slowly, taking the view in and a few extra breaths. Can't blame them, it is pretty steep.
Mama.
First moat.
In the past, this moat was home to a number of crocodiles. This part of the fort is called Andheri, which means darkness. It gets pitch dark and creepy inside. It being one of the most complex mazes in the Indian fort doesn't help either. Thankfully, a guard is stationed on duty to help the lost souls like us.
Steep climb. We were right there. Snorkeling कर रहे हैं।
Few more stairs.
The climb up to the head of the fort was tough. I could imagine the great battles these walls would have witnessed, and the strength that might have been required to carry out missions with arms and ammunitions. I was walking casually with my Nikon lens in airy clothes and still struggling. We had reached the last part of this fort, which was an octagonal, double-storied building. We stepped inside the structure, and the passage led us to a square courtyard and extended terraces in all directions. The view from here was breathtaking. And just when we thought that we had reached the top, we noticed a set of stairs going up to the roof. So we pushed ourselves to see what's up there. We had reached the very top, and on the citadel laid a massive cannon. There it was. The feeling of accomplishment, of climbing one of the most popular forts in the country. Just as we started to descend back, to our surprise, or maybe to reward us for our efforts, a peregrine falcon flew past us at eye level and perched on a nearby branch down below. The feeling was priceless, and the climb was completely worth it. Soon we were back down where we began and back to a resort for breakfast. Checked out and back on the road to come home. Thank you for watching.